This is going to be a short video talking about the Benchmade AutoStyker, the knife here in the front. By comparison, or for comparison's sakes, I've got a Benchmade-1000 AutoSpike here, ProTech model L-UDT, large underwater demolition team, and then a Blackie Collins ProTech knife called the Ciabatta. It's actually technically an assisted knife, but for all intents purposes it's pretty much an auto knife also back in the back here. So we'll start out here with the knife that we're here to talk about. The 9100 AutoStyker has a slide safety on the back, push button auto. The AutoStyker, or the AutoSpike 1000, again push button knife, auto. The ProTech underwater demolition team knife here, again same basic kind of a concept. It's a push button auto. And then here we got the Blackie Collins ProTech. The push button makes it look like a Godfather, but basically holding it in this kind of an up position, pressure on the blade with a finger releases the blade, and that's all there is to it on that knife basically. So as an overall quick look at the different blade profiles and kind of general overall length, comparing the AutoStyker here. Just kind of get a quick overview look at the four knives that we're comparing to. I'm going to put these off to the side now, kind of get them out of our way. So the 9100 AutoStyker that we're talking about now is really a pretty well used example. Joint base Fort Lewis McChord soldiers have had this knife. And you can see the BK1 coating, blade coating on this blade is fairly well worn off, as is the tanto-tip that would have been from the factory on this knife. Pretty much reprofiled into more like what I would consider to be a spanto style blade. The BK1 coating on this knife exceeds ASTM 117, which is basically a saltwater submersion test for steel coatings. Also adds excellent corrosion resistance to the blade. It's a half serrated spanto style blade. You can see the designation 154 CM on the blade. That's a Crucible Materials company, which has later been designated or turned into Crucible Industries now. Rockwell hardness 58 to 61 on the blade steel, having a carbon content 1.05%, chromium 14%, manganese 0.5%, molybdenum 4%, and silicon 0.3% content. The blade length on the 9100 AutoStyker, and by the way, the 9100 AutoStyker has been superseded by the 9101. Blade length 3.7 inches, blade thickness 0.12 inches, so just under 1/8 of an inch on the blade spine thickness on the back of the blade. You can see the profile, the way it's cut for the tanto style tip. Handle thickness here, 1/2 inch, 0.5 inches. Weight overall 3.9 ounces, which is relatively lightweight for a auto knife of this blade length. Overall length 8.25, with a closed length of 4.68 inches. As you can see, the knife can be closed one-handed, no problem with that. When the safety's on, button is basically locked out, inactivated back here. When you slide the safety button, that releases the button so that you can push it for a blade release. So as far as just a quick overview comparison for size of the 4 knives that I selected here to compare to, we got the AutoStyker 9100, got the 1000 Benchmade AutoSpike, the ProTech L-UDT, and the Blackie Collins ProTech Ciabatta. I have a quick aerial overview of these knives here so you can see what they look like in general, and for the most part just using them as a size comparison.
A few paper cut tests. The blade snagging and tearing on the paper near the heel. Here we're going to look at where the blade is snagging. It's near the heel of the blade. You can see as I'm dragging along my fingernail, the blade's catching a little bit. The main part of the blade seems like it's in fairly decent shape as far as the edge, but the first initial 3/8 of an inch, there's a couple snags in the blade. The rest of the blade will shave hair. Here's a bit more of a close-up so that you can get a little bit better feel for what I'm feeling as I'm dragging the blade across my fingernail. A little bit of jumpiness. And then a fairly clean edge for the rest of the blade.